Welcome to Tennis Spin, where we put our spin on your tennis. Today, my buddy James from Singapore wanted me to do a video regarding the rationale behind two of the greatest American players ever, Pete Sampras and Andre Agassi. All right, so James from Singapore, my man, here's to you. Thank you for all the coffees you bought me. I totally appreciate that. So, great subject matter. James is pretty much asking me, why and how does Pete Sampras need to play with his ultra heavy racket with a ton of lead on it, right? With gut strings at 70 pounds. And Andre Agassi, just as heavy. Like, why is that? Why do they need to be so tight? This is what my theory is, James. You have a super heavy racket that basically helps with the power. More weight equals more power. These guys swing for the fence. Therefore, gut's pretty lively for Pete, but he likes to feel because he's, got that serve and volley game, right? He's solid on the volleys. He's solid on the serve. Just need to keep the ball in, right? So he needs tight tension to keep the ball in. And gut for him probably doesn't last very long. Even tension holding probably doesn't last very long. And at 70 pounds, the gut will just break naturally. I've heard that it breaks literally in the racket before he even picks it up sometimes. So let me break into something and grab Andre's racket here. I mean, it's been a long time. Obviously, that's the US Open 99. Andre, he's obviously used the crap out of this turner grip. And it's still it's still pretty freaking tight. It says 64 pounds, done on 9/11, the 99 US Open. So 9/11/99. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to try to recreate what Pete had on his racket. So we're going to turner grip this. We're going to power pad this up. Full bed of 17 gauge gut. Full bed, guys, at 70 pounds. It even says recommended tension 48 to 62. I'm going to show you that right there. It doesn't say it, but the people at Babolat have said it before to me. It may not survive over the 62. All right, guys, so I just strung up the Pete racket and I just spec'd it out. So 70 pounds VS 17 on here. I can't say that the racket wasn't kind of creaking. The string wasn't kind of creaking. So I don't think I've strung 70 pounds in a long, long time. So it's gut and it's 17, and I hope it holds up until I play with it. Okay, so yeah, a little worried there. Lead, two sides of lead, so one stacked on top of the other on both sides is where we're at. This is not lead, guys. This was somebody's sticker, so don't worry about that. Power pads, we got his signature dampener there from Unique Sports. There's actually 4 strips of 1/2-inch leads on the big bevel underneath here now too. So I actually had to add that on to get to my specs. The last thing I need to do is put a W on here and double lines. Double lines for Babolat gut, W for the Wilson racket. All right, man. On the court, found my man, Coach Goo. Got the racket. I unfortunately forgot to stencil it, though. Damn it. Well, let's hit with it. All right, so just to fill Goo in, 70 pounds, 17 gauge natural gut. Double layer lead, not one layer, double layer lead.
Yeah, I saw it. Overall, I mean, this is a great racket. It feels great overall, especially on the volleys. You know, Pete Sampras is one of the best serve and volley players of all time. I can see why he loves this kind of his customs like this. Every volley you hit, especially if you hit it just a tad bit off the spot, it still carries the weight, carries through, and it stabilizes. Every volley I hit was pretty crisp. With natural gut, of course, it's going to give you that extra natural pop because it's gut, so it's a little softer, and it just pops off the racket a little easier. Really fun racket to play with. It reminds me of my first racket. This is the first racket I've ever played with. Overall, really fun racket to play with.
So he was born with this racket. As soon as he popped out of there, his dad was like, here you go. You could be like Pete.
I don't think he knew Pete, but it's okay. He just liked the racket.
You could be tennis player. I agree with Goo here. I have never played with this heavy of a pro staff before.
This is probably the heaviest.
I've definitely weighed it down before, but not like this. What I was trying to tell Goo is it's double weighted. It's like stacked on top of each other.
Yeah, I can see it.
So it's a nice thick load here.
Yeah, it's heavy. It's really heavy.
But when you get it going, though, it just takes over for you.
Oh, yeah. That's why, like, his serve was huge. I can see why. Because that weight really benefits him.
Oh, definitely. And then there's 4 strips in here. Full strips down
I definitely felt the grip being a little heavy, too. So, like, it transitioned. Overall, it actually transitioned really nice, which is surprising to me.
It reminded me of kind of the Fed racket. It had that same
a little bit,
characteristics.
a little familiar. I think the Fed racket had a little more. It felt a little less, maybe.
Correct.
Yeah, it felt a little less. This is a beast. This is like, if you want pop, this will give you pop. Fed racket it still gives you pop. It just had a little more control around the racket, so
right.
A little more whip.
So I mean, I understand what Pete did now. Like, all this weight that he added throughout the racket, like, ton of power. That's what it gave this racket. A big sweet spot too. What the gut at 70 did was kind of keep the ball in because he loved the feel of gut. And truthfully, when I hit with it, it didn't feel like 70. I'm sure the weight has something to do with it to make the ball pocket more. In a 70-pound bed, it was pretty ridiculous.
Yeah.
Serve, popped, volley, like you said, pop. You didn't have to do a whole lot on the volley.
You just literally put it out.
Exactly. The racket
you put it
did
out,
the rest.
and you're like, you're fine.
Exactly. And then, if you guys remember, his forehand was kind of flippy, right? Kind of, elbow up and then whap, right? So all he had to do was just get this going. And that backhand that he kind of brought way down and just let go, all he really had to do was connect. If he connected,
it was clean. It was going to be clean no matter what with this racket.
Crazy shot. Good thing we got our hit in because it's going to break up here. where that grommet is.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's because it's 70 pounds and it kind of went through that.
The racket's hold. A racket should not be at 70 pounds. It's going to destroy that racket really fast. As you can tell, that's going to pop.
That's going to break. Yeah.
So, yeah, that's the reason why if Racket said there's a tension between 55 and around 60-something, they'll go over it. And it's because of that.
Yeah. But I'm glad I tried this out. I actually like it a lot. You guys know I like weight, and there's a ton of weight here, but I love it. I actually love how this is set up.
Me too.
Coach Goo?
I am the same. I love this racket because this is my first racket I ever learned with. But beefed up, for sure beefed up, and it was really fun to play with the legend himself, Pete Sampras' kind of custom racket, because it's such, well, bringing back nostalgia, but also it's just cool because to see how he got around those volleys, it makes sense. It really makes sense, and how the serve was so massive, it kind of told the whole story behind it.
All right, I want to thank my man Coach Goo for sharing the Pete racket with me. Coach Goo, where can we find you?
You can find me at AGU.tennis. I'll also be posting content there as well.
All right, guys, thank you for watching Tennis Spin, where we put our spin on your tennis.